Shh. Hi everyone and welcome to episode 94 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID free. Thanks to everybody for tapping in today. We truly appreciate your support. As you can see, we're live and direct in the AFTV studios. We're actually downstairs as opposed to normally we would be upstairs, but as you can see, we're still in salubrious surroundings. And we've got a great show lined up for you today. But before we go any further, let me kick things off by introducing my co-host, resident expert analyst and good friend. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, senior citizens, it is both my honour and pleasure to be able to introduce to you today Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Oh, where's the rest of that intro, man? Man travelled all the way down here. I'm waiting for all that intro. Yo, man.
No, you know what it is? I've run out of superlatives.
Do you know?
I've actually run out of superlatives.
Do you know I just spent all that petrol to get here? You know how tough petrol is to get right now?
I was going to say, you found petrol.
Yeah, I know, but I was expecting a long intro. But nah, listen, man, happy to be here. And it's a good show, man, a happy show after the weekend.
Yeah, man, it is, yeah. And with the introduction as well, listen, man, apologies, but like I said, I've run out of superlatives. And listen, even though it's a shortened intro, it's by no means a less meaningful.
Nah, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
You've probably run out of words and letters now, anyway.
But anyway, so how you been, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know what? I'm better than Anthony Joshua is right now, man. Jeez, man.
I was going to ask you about it. Yeah, let's start with that.
Go on.
I mean, on our news and notes. For those of you who don't know, most of you do, but those of you who don't know, news and notes is just a little sort of hors d'oeuvre, isn't it? Where we just talk about things that have happened in the past week. Most of them meaningful, relevant to football, not always. But yeah, last week there was a big boxing event. We're both big boxing fans, and we both watched a fight, as millions of you did out there. The world heavyweight title was on the line, 3 of them. Anthony Joshua defending his belts. Well, that's what we thought he would.
Yeah.
And so your quick thoughts on the fight?
I mean, disappointed. I mean, Joshua, for me, one of the best punchers in the heavyweight game, I would say, with his combinations and that, but just kind of went through the motions the whole fight. And what really disappointed me was after 8 or 9 rounds, you're thinking somebody in the corner's got to say, look, Josh, you're going to lose this fight unless you knock him out now, so go for him. And he just never changed. It was as if he thought he was winning the fight and just went through the motions. And disappointing, man. I know you did the watch along on Robbie's channel.
I did. Yeah, Don.
How was it for you? I know you're a bit of an
up to everybody on that
boxing expert.
Yeah, we had Ty on there as well.
Oh yeah.
We had my son who's got a channel called Boxing Lowdown. Check that out.
Yeah.
It was a good atmosphere, man. I enjoyed it. We had Troops was down.
Yeah.
So, but as for the fight itself, man, it's funny because, as you know, I'm a massive boxing fan, and I've got friends of mine that are in the media, in boxing media. And there was one of them, I'm not going to give his name for obvious reasons, but he called me the night before the fight and he said, Laurie, I'm a bit worried about this fight. I said, what do you mean? He goes, listen, man, the vibes I'm getting from Joshua is that he's going to try and outbox the boxer. And he said to me, if he tries to do that, he's going to lose.
Yeah.
He said, listen, man, Joshua is the bigger, stronger, more explosive athlete with a bigger punch. What he's got to do is impose himself, push the guy back, dominate behind the jab. I hope that doesn't sound too technical for non-boxing. But basically, he said he's got to impose himself.
Yeah.
Joshua didn't do any of that, man.
No.
So, and I think Joshua will be looking back on that in retrospect, and I think he'll be disappointed with his performance. Because when he did connect, you saw that he did hurt Usyk, or he marked him up, didn't he? I mean, you looked at the two guys after the fight, even though Joshua lost, you would have thought that Usyk lost. He had cuts all over his face and black eyes and all the rest of it. And he's actually said, gone back to Ukraine now, but he said in an interview that I saw that Joshua did hurt him a few times.
Yeah, definitely.
Bit like football, man, you've got to have the right attitude.
That's it.
How many times have we said with Arsenal, you know what I mean, if you go there and you don't have the intensity and the energy and the enthusiasm, doesn't always work out, and that's what we saw.
Let's hope he wins the rematch.
Yeah, man, they got a rematch. He's got a rematch clause. He's exercised that.
Yeah.
And what we're hearing is that they'll be back in the ring next February, March.
Yeah.
So let's hope he pulls it off.
Yeah, man.
Okay, moving on from that then. Football matters. Bernd Leno, man, he's been in the news in the last couple of days. We spoke about him last week. In fact, we've spoken about Bernd the last couple of weeks. Since Ramsdale's come in, he's definitely made a big impression, both on the pitch and with the fans, with everybody else.
Yeah.
Bernd Leno is fastly becoming the forgotten man. But he was in the news this week. He seemed to be hinting that he's not too bad at the moment, but he was giving clues, wasn't he? That if I don't get back in soon, then I might be forced to look at my future. Yeah. Listen, what's your stance on that? Because I'll just be quick. On mine, I'm like, this is something of his own doing, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Ramsdale was brought in as the number 2. Okay, we paid quite a bit of money for him. But that would suggest to me that he was going to be, I don't like to use the word groomed, but you know what I'm saying?
Competition for Leno.
He was going to be the number 2 with a view to taking over when Leno eventually moves on. Yeah. But then Leno committed a bit of a faux pas when he started dropping hints that he might want to leave if, you know what I mean, if the club are not competitive and rare. And then all of a sudden Ramsdale finds himself with the number 1 jersey, and then to be fair to him, man, he's performed admirably. You can't displace him from number 1 at the moment, can you?
No.
What's your point?
I mean, listen, with Leno, I don't understand the whole thinking, because Emi Martinez was moved on. If I'm Leno at that point, I would have been like, what a massive show of confidence that is, that the manager sold Emi Martinez and backed me. Matt Ryan came in, he's gone, Ramsdale's come in, and all of a sudden, he's been out the team for 3 games in the Premier League. You're doing interviews already. Yeah. Just get your head down and try and work your way back into the team. After 3 games, I might have to look at my options in winter. I tell you what, mate, book the flight. Get yourself out of there. Honestly, because do you know what? One thing that I've loved about us in the last few weeks is we've had a bunch of players that look like they want to play for the club. And that, for me, is the starting point of any successful team. Facts only. Rafa Benitez, remember he had that facts interview back in the day. Leno's acting like he's doing us a favour, like, oh, well, you know, I'll stick around. I tell you what, mate, get yourself out of it. Ramsdale's doing the business. There are other goalkeepers we could bring in January, and to me, if he's going to sulk and start doing interviews after 2 or 3 games, move him on. I'm not going to say he's a bad goalkeeper, because he's not. I think he's a very good keeper, but you've seen since Ramsdale has come in, some of the things that Leno actually lacked. Wasn't very commanding coming for crosses. Doesn't communicate very well with the back 4 either.
And I'd add another one to that. I think Ramsdale, from what I've seen so far, he looks better on the floor than Leno.
Definitely.
With the ball at his feet. Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing stories that Ramsdale was quite an accomplished, was it midfielder?
Something like outfield player, so it looks better on the ball.
And I have to say, listen, I don't want to get too carried away, because it's only, you know, 3, 4, 5 games or whatever. But, you know, since Ramsdale's come in, man, he's looked good. He's endeared himself to the fans. You know what I mean? He's a very energetic guy. Yeah. Not to say that Leno isn't, because listen, I like Leno. But like you, I was a bit disappointed with him. Like, we had those... I had that period where things are not going right, and you know what I mean, he's talking about leaving and stuff. That's not what the fans want to hear.
No, you don't want to hear that. Keep that quiet.
And when you do that type of stuff, man, it just makes people think that your heart's not really in the club. And I'm not saying that about Leno, but that's the impression that you give. And I think he's created something of his own doing that, you know what I mean, it's come back to bite him in the bum, as they say. But listen, man, I hope he stays, man, because I do like Leno, but I just think that, you know what I mean, he's he may look back at that and be slightly disappointed with the way he carried himself over that whole thing. Okay, moving on again, Granit Xhaka. Now, Granit Xhaka is a player that divides opinion, and I know you're not his biggest fan, but even you would have to admit that he came back into the team last week, and listen, 1-0 to me, because I said that. I did say, didn't I? That Arteta would play.
Yeah, you called this one. You did call this one.
But listen, man, to me, it wasn't rocket science, because I've heard the manager
He loves Xhaka, don't he?
Anyway, whatever anyone says, he came back in last week, and I thought he had a really good game. Unfortunately, he got injured during that game, and we're now hearing that he could be out for a long time. The club have called it a significant injury. At first, people were talking about 5-6 weeks. Now we're hearing 3 months. So to me, that's very significant. So what's your thoughts on that whole situation?
I mean, one thing I'll say, I have to give him credit. I thought he came in and did well. I wasn't sure whether he would play him, although I did lean towards the fact he would probably bring him back. And he did well next to Thomas Partey. And
he did.
Look, it was a shame, because 5 minutes before he got injured, he went down with a knock. The physio came on. Sambi Lokonga had his top on, and I thought, here we go, he's coming off now. He kept him on for another 5 minutes, and of course, an unfortunate collision. Lucas Moura falls onto his knee. I mean, look, Mikel Arteta could not have expected that to happen, but if he takes him off there and then, it might not happen.
We're going to touch on this later.
Yeah, we will touch on that. But 3 months, I mean, listen, no matter what I think about Xhaka as a player, he's very important in Mikel Arteta's role in the team and what he wants from him. You would probably say he's number 2 in the pecking order: Thomas Partey, Xhaka, Lokonga, and whoever else.
For me, it's Partey, and other.
Yeah.
And then for me, you got Xhaka, you got
Lokonga.
Xhaka, Sambi, Ainsley, and El Neni.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a big loss.
It's a big loss. And you've also got to look at, in January, African Cup of Nations, Partey and El Neni go for a few weeks. If Xhaka's not fully fit then, that leaves you with, Ainsley and Lokonga with no real cover. So to me, I think Arsenal are going to have to look in the transfer market in January. I do think we're a centre midfielder light anyway in terms of quality. But definitely a loss, because I noticed on Sunday we only had 3 players over the age of 25 in the team. Xhaka, Aubameyang and Thomas Partey. So it is a team that does lack experience. So listen, Xhaka's going to be a loss to Arsenal. So get well soon.
Definitely. Yeah, listen, man. Absolutely. Get well soon. And we hope that he's not out for as long as it's been said at the moment. So we'll keep our eyes on that and see how it goes. Okay, thanks. That's our news and notes section covered this week. Moving on to another one of our regular features, one of our main features, and that is to review Arsenal's last game. I can see you're getting
Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go.
Shout out Toby.
Hey Toby, at least get to half time before you leave, man. Come on. I heard he was ringing a taxi after 30 minutes.
My man exited that stadium so fast, bro. I was like, rah, you know what I mean? But anyway, shout out to Toby.
Yeah, big up
I know
Tobes,
he watches us, man. So big up Toby every time. Right, yeah, so listen, man, I can scarcely disguise my excitement, and I'm sure you're the same. So listen, big, massive North London derby. To me, one of the biggest games domestically in British football. Massive game, a lot on the line. Much was said about this game beforehand, wasn't it? After wins against, let's face it, lowly Norwich and Burnley are not doing that great. Everyone was saying, can Arsenal beat Tottenham? You know what I mean? Listen, we've done pretty well against them over the years, especially at home.
Yeah.
But, given the way we started and the way Tottenham had started, they'd started well. And then we'd gone on to win a couple of games. And I don't know if it's by coincidence, by contrast, Tottenham, they'd lost a few. But nevertheless, people say to me, form goes out the window in a North London derby. And it's all on the day. So it was being billed as a game that would tell us where Arsenal are at present in terms of improvement, etc. And I have to say, man, that fair play to the guys.
And you called it as well, didn't you?
I did. I did call it. I just had that feeling going into that game that we were on a bit of a roll. And I looked at Tottenham, and like I said, by contrast, they hadn't looked that good. And then you got the Harry Kane situation and stuff like that. The fact that Nuno's in charge and still, even though he got manager of the month back in August, I think it was, you could see that things are not quite gelling.
It's not there yet.
Their last few performances had not looked that good, whereas we were showing signs of incremental progress. And I just thought we were going to catch them at the right time, and so it proved. And I have to say, that first half of football, I'm going to go on the record now and say that since Arteta's taken over, that is probably the best I've seen us play. Now listen, we won the FA Cup under Arteta, and there were some very good performances there. The game against City especially, and the game against Chelsea, those games stand out. But in terms of pure football, dominating a team over especially that first 45 minutes, I thought that was as good as it's got under Arteta so far. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. For me, it's such a dominant performance. What I loved about that performance was the energy. Yeah. So many times I've watched Arsenal under Arteta and I'm like, we're playing too slow. We're going through the motions. for that first 45 minutes, they were electric.
They were.
Honestly, I every time we attacked, I thought we was going to score.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe what was going off. Funny, when I saw Toby couldn't. He was dialing his Uber after the third goal. But
probably when he saw that second one going, he was like,
said, "That's it, mate. I'm done. I'm out of it." Do you know
gone.
what? It was interesting before the game because we were doing our predicted lineup and stuff, and I look at the lineup and I go, Pepe's not playing, Smith Rowe's on the left, Xhaka's back in. I'm thinking, if this goes wrong for Arteta, he will get a lot of stick. But to be fair to him, it worked out and they were fantastic. And I thought, there were so many good performances. I thought Ramsdale was great. There's too many to name.
I think everyone played well.
But someone I want to give a special shout out to is the skipper. Me and you, we've spoken many times. We backed him at his darkest moments, but I thought Aubameyang was outstanding in that game. He led the line. I seen him winning headers. He was closing people down. I think that second goal is goal of the season.
Yeah, so far.
I've not seen a better team goal than that. All the way from Ramsdale, Xhaka, Tierney, Smith, and Aubameyang.
Shout out to Xhaka, the way he eased Højbjerg off that ball.
Yeah, give him some.
And this is what I talk about with Xhaka.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
No, but you know what I mean? To me, that kind of that move there, a lot of people go, come on. But it's the way he just manoeuvred, or that strength and the way he did that. Some people were trying to say it was a foul. No way, man. That was a coming together of two midfielders that liked the physical challenge, and Xhaka got the better of it. He got the better of it. And it led to a goal.
It did.
You know what I mean? That, to me, them type of things are very important. But anyway, you want to dwell on that at the expense of everybody else's contribution. But that flick from Abba, man.
Oh. And you know what? I got to be honest. When he does the Thierry Henry knee slap,
bro.
I was finished. I was done. I said, I might have to turn this off. You see Henry sitting in the crowd wearing an Arsenal shirt, and this man's doing the knee slide. I said, that's it for me.
Storm, isn't it?
If Carlsberg did 45 minutes, that was the 45 minutes. He can't get no better.
Vavavoom shit, man.
That was real Vavavoom.
That was Vavavoom, bro.
Yeah, that was real Vavavoom.
But listen, I'm going to, as much as I liked Abba's performance and the team performance, Smith Rowe and Saka.
Oh, my
For me, I would slightly edge Saka as man of the match. I know a lot of people said Smith Rowe. Now, I wouldn't have a problem.
Either one of them.
But to me, Saka, man, especially, he'd been for a few weeks where he'd not hit those heights. And some people, and shame on if any of you were one of those out there that were starting to diss him. I was like, bro, come on, he's only a youth. But the way he turned up and played was fantastic. And shout out to Smith Rowe as well. People had said,
brilliant.
The detractors of Smith Rowe had said, he does little bits and he works hard, but he doesn't contribute enough in terms of scoring goals. Well, listen, man.
Do you know what?
Those was on it.
Saka, you got to remember he's playing against Reguilon, who's a Spanish international, former Real Madrid player.
Good player.
And he destroyed him.
Yeah.
He destroyed it. And Smith Rowe on the other side, those little runs, Tanganga got dragged off at right back. And I've seen Tottenham fans hyping him up.
No, you know what? I was a little surprised that they dragged Tanganga, actually, because I thought of the Tottenham players who seemed to strangely be off it, I thought he was one of the few that looked up for it.
Yeah, but
anyway, that's their business.
Smith Rowe in them little pockets, man, he couldn't get near. I thought, like I said, there were so many. Tommy Yasu, or as they're calling him, Tommy Cafu. Because you know what, I got to be honest, I have not praised him that much before this game because my thought process was Burnley and Norwich, hasn't played against no one. He was up against Son, who I got to be honest, Son for me is one of the best left wingers in the Premier League. Absolutely. And I thought he pocketed him. I know Son scored, but that goal, he wasn't near him at the time. But every time he got one-on-one with him, he just handled him. So I thought he was brilliant. Thomas Partey as well. Oh my God, he turned into the general again. Just bossed their midfield. Gabriel.
If we can keep that guy fit,
he's outstanding.
He's looking the part, and even his shooting, I don't know if you noticed.
He's hitting the target now. I ain't seen no pigeons getting knocked off the top of the stadium for a while.
They're not having to retrieve all the footballs.
No, I tell you what, when he scores, mate, can you imagine the celebration?
And I bet it's going to be a worldie.
It will be.
It'll be a worldie.
30-yard rocket or something.
Man. But that first half was, like I said, to me,
amazing.
Football under Arteta has at times not been the best to watch, but that first 45, was superb. So shout out to Arteta and the team for that. However, it would be remiss of me not to comment on the second half performance, because I have to say, man, and I don't want to sound like I'm sort of, I don't want to come across as negative, but I do think we tailed off a little bit in the second half. And it's interesting because I found myself thinking that this is Arteta's finest moment as a manager. And I love the way he was celebrating the goals. I love the whole energy and the spirit of the team. And he obviously contributed to that. But with that second half, man, I was a little bit disappointed. I'm not going to lie. Because to me, that was a 5-0 game. We had them, man. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want us... You know like what City do to teams? They did it to us a few weeks back. When they got you down, man, they'll put their foot on your neck and they do that. Squeeze it, you know what I mean? And I don't want to come across as hypercritical, but I was a little disappointed that we tailed off in the second half. I was a bit disappointed with Arteta's game management. So, for example, he waited too long for the substitutions. I think our first sub was about like 77 minutes. I think with Xhaka, I know he got injured, but I was calling for him. He looked a bit tired before that.
Yeah, he did.
10, 15 minutes before that, you could see he looked a bit tired. His body language was a little bit less than it had been in the first half. I'd have liked, the game kind of opened up a little bit towards the end. I'd have liked to have seen Pepe come on. You know what I mean? Things like Laka, Abba done fantastic, but even he was blowing up a little bit at the end there. I mean, and that's understandable, all the work he put in. So the second half wasn't great. And if we look at the stats, I mean, they did kind of surprise me after the game when I looked at it. And this kind of bears out what I'm saying. So for those of you who are going to come at me in the comments, hear me out. I mean, shots on goal, given our dominance, particularly in the first half, you will be probably surprised to know that shots on goal, Arsenal 12, Tottenham 10. Shots on target, 7 we had compared to Tottenham's 4. Again, not the big disparity that you would have thought. And actually in possession, Tottenham actually had more possession of the ball than we did. Now listen, some people are going to say, yeah, but they were never going to win that game. We were 3-0 up. You probably wanted to coast a little bit. But when Tottenham scored that goal, 3-1, and you saw Son run, pick up the ball and race back, and then they started geeing each other up. And then they went fairly close a little time after that. I would argue that they should have had a penalty in that game, man. With Kane, that challenge on Kane. And then you think to yourself, well, we've gone from totally dominating this game to huffing and puffing a little bit in the second half. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Do you know what? I see it a little bit different. I listen, I understand your point, because I said the same thing. I sat there at half time and I said, listen, if we can keep that up, this could be 5-0. We could annihilate them. I just think Mikel Arteta, given the difficult start he's had to the season, I think he probably looked at it and thought, do you know what? Let's not be as expansive in the second half. I think he would have been a little bit more... He's probably not thinking, let's go and get 5. He's thinking, let's just get out of here with a victory. Also, the intensity they played with in the first half, can they keep that up for the 90 minutes? Or, you know... listen, I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen us be a bit more expansive. But when you look at those stats as well, I look back at that game and I think... Tottenham didn't really have that many clear-cut opportunities. You know, that a few of those shots were long-range shots. I can't remember them having a clear-cut chance. You know, Kane had the one where he put over Ramsdale. Apparently he was offside anyway. So I get your point. I think the scoreline flatters them a little bit in the end to get out there with a 3-1. But I think the damage had been done. I get your point. I would have liked to have seen them really battered, but
I think we could have managed the game a little bit better. Is what I'm saying.
The subs should have definitely been made earlier.
Yeah, definitely with the subs, 100%. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that. So you know, there's a lesson in there going forward. We need to manage games a little bit better. Even when we're dominant in the first half like that. But listen, man, not too many complaints from me. It was a great performance. And listen, 3-1, that's great. And brings us into our next game and the next topic on the show, Ops of the Week. This week, again, another big game, man. The Danny Welbeck derby.
The Neil Maupay massacre. Ty will be up for this one.
I'm sure he will be, mate. I was chatting to him the other day, man. He's already looking forward to this game with a lot of anticipation. As I am, as I'm sure you are, and the fans are. Yeah, man. Brighton, away from home. Big game, man. Big game. Brighton, we saw them against Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace. So they're coming off the back of a draw. Had they won that game, they would have gone top of the table. But there you go. But yeah, man, so Brighton. So let's look at some of the receipts. Brighton currently 6th in the table, but they're only 1 point behind the leaders, Liverpool. So, you know, they've done well. They made a very good start. Played 6, won 4. They've beaten Burnley, Watford, Brentford and Leicester. They've only lost the 1 to Everton, and let's face it, Everton are playing well this season. And of course, that draw I spoke about earlier, Crystal Palace, that's like a local derby for them. And even in that game, they equalised in virtually the last kick. So that tells you a little bit about what they're like as a team under Graham Potter. They're resilient, they're a good team, they're functional, well managed. So it's going to be difficult, man. And I would go as far as to say, and this is probably going to be the title of our show this week, that I see this as a harder game for Arsenal than the Tottenham game was. What do you think about that, bro? Do you think I'm getting ahead of myself?
No, I understand what you're saying, because that Tottenham game is such a big game that you don't need any motivation for that. You know, you got 60,000 Arsenal fans. It speaks for itself. Sometimes these are the games where you can have a little wobble as a team. Brighton away. And let's face it, Tottenham were out of form. Brighton are in form. Exactly. They're confident. They're grinding out results. Like you said, they could have been top of the league. We had a great record at home against Spurs. Brighton's been a bit 50-50, although we did beat them there last year.
Yeah, we beat them. I think we beat them home and away last year. I think, at Brighton last year, we beat them 1-0.
1-0, Lacazette,
And at home, we beat them, Pepe.
Oh, okay.
Remember him?
Yeah, Nick, the forgotten man.
Yeah, the forgotten man.
But no, listen, I think this will be a tough game, and we're all hyping Arteta and the team, rightly so. You know, it's been a great week. I think Arsenal fans needed this week just to remember the good times again. If we go to Brighton and drop points, you forget about that Tottenham game. The international break is after this, so you have 2 weeks to just mull over that result. You want to go into that international break on a victory. If we can beat Brighton, all of a sudden you're going, since the last international break, we've won every game. That is a good turnaround. That's where you can start saying, okay, is Arteta turning a corner? This is his team now. You know, I think this is a very big test. And for me, even though Brighton are doing well, I've watched them a couple of times this year. They're organised and they are tough to beat. I think we've got to be beating them. I think we're a better team than Brighton. I really do.
Yeah, I would have. Just don't want to sound arrogant or, complacent or overconfident or any of those things. But, you know, especially given the way we've turned it around, you have to say that we should be going into this game with optimism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I do think it will be a harder game.
Very.
And I remember when I started saying that to a few people in the office here, I got a few glances like, come on, man, we're just beating Tottenham. Didn't you see the way we played, especially in the first half? Brighton, man, come on. I said, well, slow your roll a bit, man, because Brighton, you know what I mean, they've started well.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, they look a good team. And even when they were under the cosh a little bit against Palace, they came back right at the end there. And our old friend Mopé nipped him with that goal. It was a well-taken goal as well.
Very good, yeah.
So I think, you know, and listen, Arsenal are coming to town. The stadium will be full. And Brighton, they do generate a good atmosphere for their home fans. So this will be a difficult game. I've got a couple of questions for you, bro, as we always do when we talk about Ops of the Week. What type of team would you like to see the manager play this week?
I'm going the exact same team, barring Xhaka for Lokonga.
Yeah.
So
you would have done that anyway.
I mean, the funny thing is, well, yeah, maybe. The funny thing is, last week I was saying Pepe on one side and Saka on the other, but see, Pepe now is going to have a fight on his hands to get back into the team, because Saka's gone back on the right and he's had the best game he's had in a long, long time last week. Yeah. Smith Rowe's gone on the left and done great. So I think Pepe will have a fight to get back in the team. So for me, I mean, yeah, it'll be Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Gabriel, Ben White, Lokonga and Partey, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Aubameyang up top. Gives us the good thing is, what I'm enjoying at the moment, we've got real quality on the bench.
Yeah,
I'm looking on the bench, I'm seeing Lacazette, Martinelli, you know, there are players there that can come on and make a difference. So, Pepe.
I have to say, is it just me, but I did detect a sense of disappointment. You looked at Pepe's face and Lacazette and Martinelli, and at times you could see. I mean, listen, man, it's only natural that they should feel that, but you can see that they wanted to come on, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's a North London derby, man. I tell you what, I give credit, though, because when Arsenal scored, I saw Lacazette jumping up and down all over the place, and I love things like that. You know, you need that. But listen, any player gets left out of a big game, you should be disappointed, but they'll get game time. They'll
I think this week, I think it'll be that type of game, because I think Brighton are quite they're physically
resilient.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they are.
Lewis Dunk.
And they're very well organised, so, you know what I mean? It's not going to be by any means a walking.
We're going to need the substitutes.
Definitely.
You'll probably see them guys come on anyway.
And that is one of the reasons why I made that earlier point about I was disappointed in the way the manager managed the substitutions in the second half of that Tottenham game. Because these are the types of games that the squads are very important, you know what I mean? Obviously, the first 11, they go out there and they set the tone, but you've got to be able to bring on guys off the bench that will impact the game. So, listen, man. What type of formation would you like to see?
So I suppose it's similar to last week. It's kind of like a 4-2-3-1. 4 at the back. You have your 2 in front, Partey and Lokonga. You get Odegaard in the 10, Smith Rowe and Saka off the wings, and Oba up top. One thing that I think is good, and you know, obviously it was negative at the time, but now a positive. We're not in Europe because I know Brighton aren't in Europe, but I mean a lot of teams now. You see, like Man United yesterday, tough game. Those games will take a lot out of these teams going into the weekend. Moving forward, having that 7-day break or 6-day break between games gives you a good opportunity to freshen up. You've got plenty of time on the training ground. I think we're 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. So I think this is a massive game. I really because beating Tottenham was like, okay, you're fired up for it. You've beat Tottenham. Now this is like, it's not as hyped a game as Tottenham. Can you perform? You haven't got the fans behind you. It's away from home.
That's right.
Brighton are confident. It's going to be a big game. I mean, I read that Basuma's 50-50. I kind of hope he does. I hope he doesn't quite recover for that game.
I know you're a big fan of Basuma,
listen,
aren't you?
Xhaka's out for 3 months. It's a player I'd be looking at in January if possible.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm surprised Basuma's still at Brighton.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Brighton, but it is what it is. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we would have gone.
Yeah, I did.
I think we missed a trick by not doing so. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, man, you make some very good points here, man. Like I said, the progression has been. We lost our early games. The Brentford, Chelsea, Man City. We got spanked by Chelsea and Man City, especially Man City. Since then, we've recovered well. I know a lot of people wasn't overexcited about the wins against Norwich and Burnley, but they were wins that we needed to execute. We did that. And then we stepped up a level last week against Tottenham. And like you said, this week, man, we got real difficult opponents in front of us. A team that not the most fashionable, but, you know what I mean, they're very functional. They've started well and their confidence is high. They're at home. And this will be a real test. Yeah. Both physical and mental, man. So I'm looking forward to it, man. So, it only behoves me to prediction time, man. What are you saying? Sounds like you're confident.
3 points.
That's what I like to see.
No, I'm telling you, we're going there for. We're going there for. We're going there for work. Usyk business, man. You know what I mean? Listen, it'll be a tough game. It will. I'm gonna go for 2-0.
2-0, right? Yeah. Clean sheet again?
Clean sheet business, yeah. I'm going for 2. Listen, I've actually got confidence in this back four at the moment. They're playing well. The goalkeeper, I think Sambi can step in and do the job. I think he's a good player. And I think Aubameyang will score again. I'm going for 2-0. And we've got quality on the bench as well.
Yeah, Aubameyang is as good a player as he is, but he's also what I call a confidence player.
Yeah.
You can see towards the end of last season that his confidence weren't quite there for whatever reason, illnesses and various other things going on in his life. He wasn't quite at it. No. And you could see it. I mean, he's still a good player. I mean, he still scored goals, but he wasn't that same ABBA. Last couple of games, man, especially last Sunday, he was on fire. He was. We're hoping to see that continue. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man. So you're saying 2-1?
2-0.
Oh, 2-0, sorry. Clean sheet. You know what? I must say, before moving on to my prediction, that combination in the middle there, man, Gabriel and Ben White. I'm liking the look of that.
I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Honestly, Gabriel's the aggressor and Ben White just quietly. I mean, Harry Kane got pocketed, didn't he? You know what I mean? Old Harold got pocketed, man. We know he's a boyhood gooner anyway, so and he definitely don't want to be there.
It's not often you can say that.
Nah.
Because normally when Kane
scores.
rocks up against Arsenal, he either scores or has a good game.
Yeah, he had a stinker, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He wasn't on it, man.
Yeah.
So
But,
fair play to
them two, like you said, I think they're both like 23, 24. You just hope they can grow together now.
Yeah.
And become that partnership. But they look really good. I did read something that Gabriel that his English has like significantly improved over the summer. So I'm assuming he's really. It helps when you can communicate, don't it, properly? So listen, I think Gabriel at 25 million is an absolute bargain of a signing. I think he'll become a Brazilian international. I think he's a top player moving forward. I really do.
And like you, I like that combination you get. Gabriel is slightly more aggressive.
Yeah.
He loves a tackle. Can be a little bit rash at times.
Sometimes.
But, he loves a tackle. He likes to get his head in there where other people fear to tread. He's a natural central defender. And Ben White, he's a ball-playing central defender. You know what I mean? He looks cultured on the ball. And I think that combination
good combo.
is pivotal.
And this is obviously for Ben White, first time going back to Brighton as an Arsenal player. Be interesting.
Ben White derby as well.
The Ben White derby, Danny Welbeck against Ben
Danny
White.
Welbeck, Ben White derby, man. I'd missed out on that one. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. See, this is why we have you on the show, man.
Yeah, man, it's just them little details.
Those little gems, those little nuggets, man. Yeah, but
what's your prediction then?
Right, my prediction is like you. I think we're going to win. Mm-hmm. Like you, I think we'll score at least 2. But the only thing is, I think Brighton might get one. Yeah, might get
2-1.
one. So, you've gone 2-0, I'll go 2-1. But I think it's a win, man.
Yeah.
And like you said, if we can keep this winning trend up, we go into the international break, it's all good, man.
It's all good, man. Happy days. The light's back, Arteta said he could see the light. I'm starting to see it a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what? Fair play to him, man. I mean, listen, man, after we got smacked up by City, who would have thought we'd be here now, like...
Yeah, smiling and enjoying it.
You know what I mean? Predicting wins and talking about the mood in the camp and talking about everything being good and rare. So, yeah, man, it's long may it continue.
Yeah, it's got to.
Okay. All right, so... come to the end of this week's show, man. Really enjoyed the show, man. Thanks for coming in, bro. Appreciate that.
Yes.
I hope it hasn't cost you too much in your petrol tank.
No, well,
Them queues,
might be walking here next week, man. 2-hour queues for petrol.
Listen, last week, where I live in North London, and this was last week, it's got worse since then. It took me 1 hour and 10 minutes
to get petrol.
And I had to drive away from my local area. I had to go a bit further.
To go and get it. It's crazy.
1 hour, 10 minutes. And that was last week. This week, apparently, is worse.
Yeah.
But enough about that, man. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, bro. Curtis Shaw TV, daily uploads, watch-alongs, Nominated. We'll be seeing you at the awards.
When is that, by the way?
Tell the people when it's 2 weeks. I think it's the 14th of October. And obviously, AFTV.
Was it 2-3 awards?
3 awards, mate.
Yeah, I think you'll come on with at least one.
I'm
looking forward to hearing your victory speech if you get something.
Nah, don't worry. I'll have something entertaining. But I know AFTV Rob has been nominated as well, so hopefully there'll be a few of us who win
I'm going to try and get... I want to be there, man. I'm going to try and get a ticket for it. I'm looking for... It should be a good night.
Yeah, man. 100%.
Chat with some very interesting people, such as yourself. So, yeah, man. To all the people out there, man, listen, thanks so much for watching the show and supporting us. We truly, truly appreciate that. Thanks also for sending us in your comments, man. We like to keep the show interactive. Even if we don't reply to all the comments, we always read them. Myself and Curtis will get together in a week and we will talk about some of the comments that have been sent. So, listen, man, we really do appreciate it, man. Keep it coming.
Long-ass intro.
That was actually a shorter intro today, though, man.
Again, I'm listening to some of the comments, people saying keep it a bit shorter. So, listen, man, we do listen. We take people's comments seriously, man. So, yeah, man, continue to watch the show. Like the show. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel, man. We truly appreciate it. And unless you got anything else, man, that's all from me.
That's all from me.
So,
see you
look
next
forward
week,
to seeing you guys next week. Respect.